Since the release of Elvis in 2022, there has been a renewed focus on Priscilla Presley as a fashion and beauty icon. Her aesthetic is one that has been appreciated by the Coquette, It Girl Loving, Sofia Coppola stan girls on TikTok. When it was announced that Sofia Coppola would be releasing a film about Priscilla Presley, many wondered how she would incorporate her own teen angst bubblegum aesthetic while trying to tell the story of a young girl in a toxic relationship without romanticizing it. And after watching the film myself, I think that Coppola does accomplish this. And I want to talk about in this video how the movie Priscilla interacts with aesthetic, especially the Lolita, Coquette, Lanacore aesthetics that are really popular online. Sofia Coppola has directed a number of films, many of which revolve around girlhood, specifically white teen girls. Her 1999 debut film follows 5 sisters who grew up in a suburban conservative household, and has kind of become a cult classic for many on TikTok as it perfectly relays the emotions and feelings that come with being a teenage girl. Coppola's 2006 Marie Antoinette follows a young teenage Marie adjusting to her new life as the Queen of France, where she goes on shopping sprees, plays with puppies, has sweet treats, romantic flings, gossips, and parties with her friends. Coppola makes Marie Antoinette, an 18th century queen, relatable to the average girl, and these films tell a story of teenage melancholy and whimsy that is so relatable in a very aesthetically pleasing way, making her film's imagery very popular on Tumblr inspo pages, mood boards, and TikTok edits. These online sad girl teenage aesthetics glamorize the ups and downs that many young teen girls experience while growing up, almost so as a coping mechanism. Aesthetic can be a form of escapism, and when it comes to the reality of dealing with sadness and emotional turmoil, which are often non-aesthetically pleasing and not even mildly enjoyable, online aesthetic escapism turns it into a meaningful, beautiful experience. Coppola's newest film, Priscilla, follows the story of Priscilla's relationship with Elvis. First, we are introduced to a 14-year-old high school freshman Priscilla, stationed in West Germany with her parents, where she's introduced at a house party to Elvis, who is 24 at the time. He takes an interest in her, and not long after, the two begin dating. Elvis then moves Priscilla out to Graceland, where he is both her guardian and her boyfriend, putting her through Catholic school while having wild parties with her. When Priscilla is in her early 20s, the two eventually get married and have a child. But after a tumultuous period in their relationship, Priscilla divorces from Elvis and goes on to live her own life, which is where the film ends. The film follows Priscilla from when she is 14 until she is 28, with a strong focus on Priscilla's teenage experience in relation to her romantic, codependent relationship, loneliness, and personal identity. Aesthetically, the film can be broken down into 3 different looks: her young Germany era, her 60s glam era, and her 70s era. So at the beginning of the film, in her young Germany era, Priscilla dons a natural face of makeup and a brown ponytail. She wears long muted skirts of brown and gray, pastel cardigans, and her signature gold heart locket. Her bedroom is a pastel pink, with various cards, posters, and memorabilia taped to her wall. This era uses a lot of aesthetics similar to Lolita and Coquette styles, which typically focus on childlike, cutesy, girly girl imagery with bright but muted colors, frills and lace, pointel, and silks. In particular, the Lolita aesthetic often romanticizes the young girl, particularly relationships between young girls and older men. I do believe that Coppola incorporates this Lolita aesthetic not to romanticize the relationship between Priscilla and Elvis and their wide age gap, but to show Priscilla as a child and how inappropriate the age gap between the two was. And in this era, Priscilla is so obviously childlike, completely naive to relationships, and Elvis is clearly taking advantage of her. When Elvis moves Priscilla out of West Germany and into Graceland as his live-in girlfriend, Priscilla enters her 60s glam era with her jet black bouffant hair, thick black eyeliner, and long lashes. She often wore brightly colored silk taffeta evening dresses, tweed skirt suits, and other glamorous 60s apparel. Some of Priscilla's most iconic looks came out of this era, which included her wedding look, in the film being a custom-made Chanel gown, and her look after giving birth to Lisa Marie Presley. Priscilla's 60s era glam looks have found newfound popularity on TikTok, especially due to Elvis being released last year. It also coincides with Lana Del Rey's popularity on TikTok and Lanacore. Lana Del Rey is a singer-songwriter, immensely popular on Pinterest and TikTok and in different aesthetic spaces such as Coquette or Lolita spaces. And much of Lana's aesthetic has been heavily inspired by Priscilla herself, who even approved Lana to play her in a biopic, which ultimately did not pan out. The Lanacore aesthetic, again, which draws upon Priscilla's own 60s style, focuses on an old Hollywood Americana melancholy, the sad but beautiful. And in many of Lana's songs, she touches on heartache and relationships, particularly in This Is What Makes Us Girls with the lyrics, "This is what makes us girls. We all look for heaven and we put love first. Something that we die for, it's a curse. Don't cry about it." And in the lyrics from Brooklyn Baby, "They say I'm too young to love you. They say I'm too dumb to see. I think we're like fire and water." And these relationship dynamics are relatable to many, especially many young teen girls, and also reflect Priscilla and Elvis's relationship as well. And this 60s era of Priscilla's life, which inspired so much the Lanacore aesthetic, was not even Priscilla's aesthetic, but Elvis's aesthetic. Elvis, when Priscilla was still 17, had her go under a makeover where he dyed her hair black, told her to use much more dramatic makeup, and completely changed her personal style. This identity that Priscilla is famous for is really not even her own identity. Priscilla was kind of treated like a doll, and in part this makeover was really a way for Elvis to control Priscilla. And you can see in the film that Priscilla's choice of aesthetics was more so about pleasing Elvis, who was often extremely controlling and manipulative. Much of her time is spent alone, without any friends or anywhere to go. She literally just sits inside Elvis's home all day with nothing to do. The pacing of the film also becomes pretty slow at this point, and as a viewer, you're kind of waiting for something to happen. But this is purposeful, as the boredom that the viewer feels is the boredom that Priscilla was feeling. Not only did she have nothing to do, but she also had to deal with Elvis's numerous affairs. She is stuck between the boredom of perpetually waiting for Elvis to return home from shoots, and at the same time dealing with the rage that came from his cheating. Her entire identity and aesthetic is tied up in being Elvis's wife, and as a young woman who had a stunted childhood, she was never able to really explore what her true identity or aesthetic was. So while yes, this part of the film is very aesthetically pleasing, there is nothing enjoyable or romanticized about their relationship. And towards the end of the film, Priscilla realizes that she needs to get out of this toxic relationship and divorces Elvis. And in this period, her style completely changes. She adopts a more neutral, less dramatic makeup look, and goes for a more relaxed hairstyle which resembles her actual hair color. She also completely changed her wardrobe, going for more modern 70s looks. And in this time, you can see that she wore a lot of denim, particularly jeans. This new 70s era aesthetic for Priscilla represents her independence from Elvis, and to her transition away from being a girl and being an adult. And I think that this aesthetic for Priscilla is certainly one that is less popular on TikTok. Not to say that it doesn't have its own appreciation, but it just has less so. That being said, Priscilla does have iconic looks from this period, including her poolside denim shoot. The actual ending of the movie Priscilla shows Priscilla driving away from Graceland. And as Priscilla drives out of the gates, Dolly Parton's "I Will Always Love You" plays, with the lyrics, "If I should stay, well, I would only be in your way. And so I'll go, and yet I know I'll think of you each step of the way, and I will always love you." And of course, this song was the perfect choice for the ending of the movie, as even though Priscilla is moving on to start her new life, she's always going to love Elvis. And this is a common theme in codependent relationships. A bittersweet ending is almost a Coppola special. I think Coppola is able to explore many common themes relating to girlhood and relationships throughout Priscilla, while using aesthetics, but not such in a way that glorifies the negative aspects of Elvis and Priscilla's relationship. However, promotional material, merchandise, and fan-made edits have certainly aestheticized Priscilla and Elvis's relationship. I mean, right now you can literally buy an eye makeup palette to resemble Priscilla in the 60s. which is playing on popular Lanacore aesthetics. You can also buy Priscilla's Heart Locket, playing into the popularity of the Coquette aesthetic. In terms of promotional material, I do wonder if some audience members might have felt misled. Due to the aestheticization of Priscilla and Elvis's relationship in promotional materials, while the film more so focuses on deglamorizing their relationship. The film is not really a lighthearted, airy puff piece about the two, but more so a commentary on toxic codependent relationships, grooming, and the trials and tribulations of growing up as a girl. If you liked it or disliked it, tell me below what your thoughts were on the film and on Coppola's usage of aesthetics. But anyways, that is it for this video, and I'm going to be saying goodbye. Bye!